everyone says that to be successful and find opportunities is not about what you know anymore, but rather about who you know. But I think there should be an extension to that last part, and it's actually not about who you know, but rather who knows you. Today I'll be talking about personal branding, why everyone should care about their personal brand. If you're new to this channel, my name's Esh and I'm a final year medical student on a mission to inspire beyond tomorrow. I have a health entrepreneurship podcast and I talk about all things productivity, innovation and technology. So if any of those things excite you or you're intrigued by them, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. It honestly means the world to me. So to begin with, why should we care about our personal brand? In healthcare particularly, a lot of doctors, a lot of medical students will think that posting content online or caring about your personal brand is a bit unnecessary. It's often seen as self-bragging, self-promotion, and one doctor even said to me that it's a bit weird. But actually, everybody has a personal brand. If you type in on Google your full name, see what comes up. Is it an outdated LinkedIn? Is it a Twitter page where you tweet every Sunday about the latest Arsenal game? All of these things will add up and are part of your personal brand. Jeff Bezos said that your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. The medical field is comparatively very small and your reputation will always exceed you. So my question to you is, what story do you want this brand to tell? Let's compare your brand to a book on a shelf in a bookstore, and you've written this book and you want to maximize the chance of someone picking up this book and taking it home, buying it, because then you'll get some money. So if the book is like a bit dull, a bit boring, then all it's going to do is just stay on that shelf and catch dust. But if the book is eye-catching, it has an interesting blurb, it's engaging, then someone's going to pick up the book and then buy it, and then you could get some money. So this is exactly the difference between an intentionally good personal brand and a bad personal brand. So what is intentional branding? Intentionality in branding is likened to being the author of your own book, rather than just being a character in someone else's narrative. It's about making calculated decisions about what you say, what you share, and how you present yourself. So I'll give an example. Imagine in one universe, there's this really hard-working clinician. He goes in at 8 a.m., leaves at 6 p.m., and dedicates himself to his craft to make sure that every patient he sees is looked after and cared for. Now let's go to another universe, an alternative parallel universe. The exact same doctor who works just as hard. But instead, when they get home, they spend an hour focusing on their personal brand. In the first universe, this doctor is relatively unknown outside the hospital. But in the second universe, the doctor has spent 2 years consistently putting out content online, breaking down interesting patient cases he's seen, sharing educational videos he's made, and writing about healthcare policies that matter to him. This doctor's been consistent and it's shown in his resume. Doctor 2 is the board advisor of multiple medical educational companies. He's a world-renowned keynote speaker, and he has contributed to healthcare legislation and policy making. The difference here is there's only one thing, and that is intentional branding. I have created a 3-part framework to help you identify and shape your personal brand and make sure that it resonates and aligns with your core values and what you stand for. Because I'm a bit of a gaming nerd and I used to spend all the hours in the sun playing fighting games like Tekken and Mortal Kombat, I've adapted this 3-part framework to fit in with a theme to align with those fighting games. So when you log into street fighting games like Mortal Kombat or Tekken, step 1 is always pick your character. The foundation is always going to be you. Oscar Wilde says, pick yourself because everybody else is already taken. But the problem with that is we are multifaceted beings with loads of different personalities that come out in front of different people, loads of different strengths and loads of different things that make us unique. And so the question is, which version of yourself do you want to present to the world? Consider your personality as this color palette, and each hue represents a different strength and a different thing that makes your character unique. Now imagine painting a portrait with these colors. Which colors are going to dominate on this canvas? These will be the colors, the traits that you want to showcase to the world. There's 3 things that you need to bear in mind when you're picking your character. So number 1 is your strengths and your uniqueness. Think about what your strengths are. So when I was creating my personal brand, I knew I wanted to do a podcast. And that's just because I'm quite extroverted. I love having conversations with people. And so what better thing to do than to have a weekly conversation with someone interesting in the health tech space. So number 2 is, what do you want to be known for? Instead of just being a medical student or just being a doctor, what are you beyond your job title? And number 3 is focusing and homing down on your unfair advantages. We all have unique skills and unique expertise that give us an unfair advantage in certain areas. Recognizing and leveraging these unfair advantages is what makes for a strong personal brand. So once you've picked your character, it's now time to choose your weapon. What type of content are you going to be producing? In the words of Naval Ravikant, pick something that feels like work to others but play to yourself. It could be anything ranging from creating short form TikTok videos or long form YouTube videos. creating a podcast where you speak with industry experts, writing 5-minute blogs on LinkedIn, posting tweets that take you 10 seconds to write. Again, there's 3 points of advice that I can give you for when you're picking your weapon. So number 1 is defining your why. Simon Sinek famously said, people don't buy into what you do, but they buy into why you do it. So whatever type of medium of content you produce, you need to align it with your why. Are you aiming to educate? Then maybe tweeting isn't the right form of content to be producing. Are you aiming to network? Then probably the best bet is podcasting, where you can have conversations with people every week. The second thing is what piques your interest the most. It's essential to pick a content of medium that you're genuinely passionate about, because if you're passionate about it, you're likely to stick to it long term. And the only way you'll see results is if you're consistent. For example, if you're a 20-year-old medical student that loves going on TikTok and just aimlessly scrolls most of the time, you understand the trends. That's going to pique your interest. So why not start producing content on TikTok? Or if you want to get better at copywriting, which is a hugely transferable skill, then why not focus on blogging or writing a newsletter? The third thing is sustainability and value. Is the medium of content sustainable in the long term? Can you keep producing this type of content in the long term without burning out? And most importantly, is it providing value? And then just as a bonus point, once you've got comfortable with 1, 2, and 3, then you can start thinking smart and repurposing your content. Ali Abdul often emphasizes creating systems over goals. One of his strategies is repurposing content by thinking smart. So he'll write a blog and then use that same blog to then script a YouTube video. And then from that YouTube video, he'll create 5 or 10 different TikToks. So when you get to that point, you're basically yielding like 10 different weapons at the same time, and you become a bit overpowered. You've picked your character and you've picked your weapon. The next step is to now pick the arena in which the fight is going to take place. You need to pick a perfect platform to showcase your perfect content. This step is extremely important, because imagine you draw and paint a 10 out of 10 painting, better than Van Gogh's flowers, better than the Mona Lisa, better than any piece of artwork that has ever been created. But you go to a flea market and the maximum price you're able to sell this painting for is £50. The same painting is then sold for millions at a high-end auction. The difference here is the shopfront. The platform you pick is going to heavily impact how well your content performs and how well your personal brand is elevated. So number 1 is aligning the platform with your goals. So if you've already decided that you want to be networking and meeting as many like-minded individuals as yourself as possible, then LinkedIn is probably the best bet. But if you've already decided that you want to be producing educational short-form clips, then TikTok or Instagram Reels is probably the best platform to pick. Your goals, first and foremost, will inform the platform that you should choose. The second point is identifying your audience. Who will gain the most from the content that you're producing? If you're aiming to educate 16 to 21-year-old A-level students on how they can get into medical school, then they're most likely going to be on TikTok. Consider who stands the most to gain from your content. And the third and final thing is to determine whether you want your content to have an artistic integrity and to be somewhat an artistic expression of yourself. And the reason I say this is just because LinkedIn and Twitter aren't very creative. And if you're anything like me, I enjoy being creative and crafting content that resonates with my personality, where I get to incorporate some splashes of creativity here and there. So the platform you pick is going to be the ground in which your personal brand thrives and survives on. So make sure you choose it wisely. And so just as we wrap up, I really hope this video has been useful for you in shaping and determining a personal brand which aligns with your identity to set yourself up for success. If you've enjoyed this video, then please hit that subscribe button, comment down below, and leave a thumbs up. Your personal brand is your legacy, and it's what you'll leave behind. It begins with who you are, your strengths, your uniqueness, your why. These form the core of your brand. So as you go along your journey, firstly, make sure you enjoy it. And secondly, make sure to not only just elevate yourself, but elevate everyone else around you. I wish you the best of luck and see you next time.